Okay, so it's like 4:30 in the morning. Look at this, like the static electricity. Man, that is so crazy. And another thing that I am having that's crazy is it's like man, it's hard to explain because it feels like these little like shocks, little it feels like all the nerves inside of my body keep going like at my surface or something. Like it feels super intense, man. Like if I was a porcupine, I'd be shooting needles or something. Like something feels really weird and it makes me feel real itchy. And so it keeps feeling like prickly all over my body, and then it makes me really itchy, but it's not itchiness, it's this prickling. And so I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if it has something to do with the atmospheric changes. I don't know if it has something to do with the like the electromagnetic field, because like this static electricity stuff and everything. Like I don't know. It's like so prickly though. And it happens. It's just constant, constant, constant. Like it kind of is driving me crazy. But another symptom, because sometimes sharing this stuff, it helps other people because they're having the same kind of thing and then they think something's wrong with them. And so then they're, everybody's running to the doctors and the hospitals trying to find out what's wrong with them because everybody's having such weird symptoms and stuff. And I've seen a few people talking about their symptoms, and I've seen some doctors talking about the weird symptoms, and nobody can seem to diagnose them, and most people are getting sent home telling them maybe you need to see a psychiatrist. And so, and what did I say a couple weeks ago? I said that's always their solution. It's a pill or go see a psychiatrist. Something's wrong with you. Because these doctors don't know shit and they don't know how to listen to us. And when we are telling them what's wrong, they think that we're crazy. It's like, but there is a sense of if you focus on something, you will build it up. And so, yeah, my stomach thing, I keep trying to not put too much focus on. I'm doing the oregano oil and keep checking now to see, is it leaking? Is it leaking? There was some more, it still has some leaking. And I am doing the castor oil, and my mom has that castor oil from when 30-year-old castor oil or something, where I feel like it's like pure. And weirdly enough, because when was I here the last time? Because that is when I noticed it started. I can't remember the sequence of all the events. I know like the when I was doing all of the trying to break down the adhesions and stuff. And then, but I remember I was here for something, and I thought, I'm going to put that castor, because I had seen so many people do this castor oil packing and stuff on their abdomen, and it can fix like hormonal issues, all sorts of stuff. And then there's a whole thing about put some in your belly button and stuff. And so I had, done that when I was here. I had put some in my belly button, and then it was like I had this weird reaction. But I wonder if it was pulling stuff out, and I don't know. Like, it'd be great to be able to know everything. But yeah, there was. I had used that stuff that was really strong. I put it in my belly button, and then there was something, and I remember it was where I thought like I had caused a problem or leaking or something, and then I thought like it cleared up or something. I guess I don't know. Like I have a brain injury. I don't have every. Some things are really spotty to me. It's like I'll remember this or I'll remember that, but I don't remember everything in between. And so, anyways, I probably could go back and go through all my videos and try and piece it all together. But I do think it has something to do with something's trying to heal inside my body. But another thing is like right now my stomach is bothering the crap out of me all this week. But I keep seeing all these people and this doctor talking about these weird GI symptoms, all these symptoms, everything that I am having besides the leaking belly button and broken tooth is all these other people are having. And to me, what do we have in common is what we intake. And so it can be something in the foods. It can be, I think it's mostly something that they're in the air. I think there's so much evidence. There's so much little stuff that is, you know, like even Donald coming out now and saying, what you know, is what they're putting up in there, could that be causing the big outbreak of autism in our society? And I think that is kind of a little seed, dropping it in here. Like, get ready, because you're gonna have to, and you know, so many, like I see it all the time, like to people all the time. It's what's making us sick is what we're breathing, and people just think I'm so kooky. And but I don't know. There's just certain things that I just know, and that's what I was saying. Is when other people don't, it's weird, because I just have these inner knowings about things, and I just know. And so, and I don't have to go and see all the evidence if it's in my inner knowing. And I don't know if it's because I have built trust with it. I don't know if it's because it's part of my, I have no idea. I just know that I have all these inner knowings. And when I try and tell people, there's always people who don't believe me. And I always think, like, where are you getting your stuff from? Like, how is it you're maneuvering through life? Because then for a long time, I thought we all had this connection. And so, and that really confused me because of how some people were and stuff. But I don't know, it's such a complex kind of thing, especially when you look back through all these different perspectives now of understanding as to where we are now in this awakening and where we were before. And, because there was like limitation all along. Even though I was spiritual, there was still certain things like I didn't understand. Like I just saw a video yesterday, and it was talking about how this place is a prison. And so I was listening because I know there's a lot of people who say that they feel like they are imprisoned here. Like that's a whole bunch of people. It's not just like one or two people. There's a lot of people. And so I was curious as to what this guy was saying. And so he was talking about the white light, that is the draw, which trips me out, is because like I do get that thing when I shut my eyes and they'll try and draw me into their eyeballs or that white light that one time. But after the white light, it started being their eyeballs and trying to like draw me in, and but I shake them off. Like I open my eyes and move away from them. And there was the other day though where it was like I opened my eyes but I couldn't. I'm having a lot of visual things. Like, you know, luckily I've got you guys, because I was telling all of the other people I would be in a place, because visual hallucinations, auditory hallucination, all of these things, they decide that you're crazy, even though it's real. But, you know, we're still not at this point where everybody understands it's real. It's still a fringe kind of thing. Oh my gosh, I was telling my mom something yesterday, and she's like, well, no, that's not. And I was like, yes, it is true. Yes, this is real. Like, telepathy is real. Being able to communicate with people in dreams is real. Sending people messages and then picking it up is all real. And she said, oh, you know, and I was like, no, it's real. It's a real thing. Like, and when I try and express, you know, I've been doing this my whole motherfucking life. It's like, I don't know, this whole thing, I'm going to be so glad when people are more awake and can understand what I'm saying. And it's not always this, you know, coming out of the lens of, like, kooky girl over here says the weirdest shit. But this stuff is real. And I was talking about that yesterday because my brother's not doing... he finished his last CHEMO treatment, and it is not, there doesn't seem to be a lot of improvement apparently. He's still paralyzed on one side. And if you don't know, his is up in here. It's, and when he had got it, they had told, because he was hospital repair, like those big machines and stuff. When he went in the Air Force, they wanted him to be a doctor. My grandma was the head of nursing in Kansas, a big hospital and stuff. And so she had been in medical for a long time. And you talk to very many nurses, you're not going to find very many who have any respect for doctors, just so you know. And so she's like, don't become one of those guys. Where you want to make money is where it's going to start going up, is in hospital machinery. It's getting so technologically advanced that it's more, I've got these things all over me. It's the weirdest thing. It's like your feet going to sleep or something all the time, only all over your whole body. And she said that the technology is advancing so much that that's going to be very specialized, and those people make a lot of money. And so that's what he did. And they were trying to argue with him even when in the Air Force, when he was doing his school and stuff, because he had tested so high in their thing. They wanted control over that mind and be in control over it, And he went in that other direction. He was resistant to what they wanted, and he did what he wanted. And he went into fixing the hospital machines. So he's always worked in hospitals. He's always been... but he worked at a certain point, he didn't work for the hospital anymore. He became... the corporation became over those workers, and he worked for Fuji, which I always thought was the strangest thing. He worked for Fuji Film, but they provided these technological geniuses or whatever, and so he worked for them for a really long time. And so what they ended up saying is this thing that grew at the back of his head was, or somewhere, I know he had a huge incision, and they had to cut stuff out. But it grew back because it's super aggressive, and it's, and they said it came from radiation and stuff that he was doing for all that time. And so, yeah, it's like a work injury. And, but, we are all susceptible to all of this stuff because we are all under these attacks. Like, there's stuff coming out now about the tau, those things that they told us were good for our bones that we all realize makes no difference. Well, it's something different, like I had said. I think it's something about I don't know. It's something. I mean, for all I know, it could be a part of our new energy wave, what we're going to have, and we're all just paranoid thinking like it's doing something else. But I don't know. And so it is, there's something making us sick. There's something making our hair fall out and shit. So, anyways, and the chemicals and stuff that we intake work in a science lab experiment inside your body and create stuff and give host to certain things that can grow in there. And so, anyways, when he was at the oncologist, don't forget who those people are. They take big bucks for I don't think that they care too much. They care more about how much more are we getting off of this? It's such a money factory. It's like, man, I don't think that a lot of these guys have the integrity that people give them the respect for. And so he asked him, because he finished the last treatment, and he said, what about this horse pace situation? And the doc said, well, your MRI is in 2 weeks. Let's give it 2 weeks. Let's see. And we'll talk about that after we see the progress of your thing. I tried to be positive, okay, you may really want to see, if this helped, and then try this and see if that helped. Or it could be like, oh, I'm a pharmacy sellout, so yeah, you're going to, because a lot of the times when you reach your limit on that stuff, because they come up with another one of these and another one of these, oh, well, there's this one, and we can try this. Nobody's taken this before, but we'll try it on you. And so, they'll keep trying that stuff, making people sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker, because you're at that point a lab rat, they're a host for their experiment. And so, and some people go that route, and some people get fed up and frustrated. Some doctors say, okay, well, we've tried everything. I don't know what to tell you. Go home. You've got a couple weeks, get your shit together. And so, it can go in different ways. And don't forget that the whole thing is defeating your spirit. And so anyways, he was interested in trying that stuff. And now too, with the you know, Nick as a teen, he's got some movement over making people better. So people who are using that method are healing these same things. So we've got some things that our body requires to heal, and it works a lot more efficiently than what they do. And so his mind is open to that. And my mom was all tore up. And her initial reaction is very, obliterary. It's very, oh my God, judge, it's the end of the world. It's the end. What am I going to do? And I think you get this huge wave of guilt and, I should have been there. Oh God, I haven't called enough. I haven't done that. You just get overwhelmed by your own emotions. And so she was having a hard time, and I pointed out, like, don't forget who his dad is. Like, dad was supposed to die so many times. I mean, by the time he did go, he hadn't had a liver functioning. They said he was like on 2% of his liver or something, because he had killed it all. And he had drank so much for his whole life and destroyed it that that he got cancer there too. And so he had nothing going there, and he was alive for years, drinking too. So I was like, don't forget like what his genes are. And then when I talked to my brother, he said, no, he has a really good attitude. He's feeling, and I'm like, that's the most important thing, is your attitude. And being positive and being hopeful and stuff. Don't be taken down by them, because that's what they want to do, is defeat your spirit. They want to crush you because they've got this prison system, which I'll explain more in a second, because there's something else that was coming in. I'm getting like a rush. It's so weird, because I was like, I wasn't even sure what I was going to talk about. I was just watching this really good movie, and I was like, maybe I'm going to talk about that. Now I'm getting a rush of this stuff. Okay. So they wanted to feature spirit, and they okay, I'll go back to the prison thing, because I got lost over there of something else, but I know that there's some more. So the in this prison system situation, so they have it in here, because I think I've seen a couple of videos of people saying some smart stuff, like, where I'm like, okay, I think we're on the same wavelength. But so I might mix up some, like, oh, this person said this, but I think it was this other person. But anyways, this one person I've seen was talking about outside of Earth, if you're talking to the other spirits, that they refer to the soul as like an herb, not an herb like a Herb. It might not even be herb, but it's something like a herb or arb or something. So it's like a different word, it's not out of our language, I don't think, or something. So anyways, but where I was saying, like, we're orbs, but it wasn't like a orb. It's not exactly like that, but it's still taking into the account that that's what you are, is the center. You're the nougat inside. You are the juicy center. You are the energetic being that gives this form life. And this form is just a storyline. It's not who you are. It's a part of you. It's like, it's trying to say, like, my shoulder is all I am. That's it. This is it. Because you are all of everything. And so you can't just center in on, like, this life is who you are. It's just, a little part of you. It's just a little piece of you. It's just a little part, so you can see and experience, see yourself in the experience, and experience who you become in the experience. And so, oh yeah, and I have that. Oh my gosh, now my brain's getting overwhelmed. Okay, so anyways, they want to keep us in separation from our orb. They want us to get real focus all our energy on this three-dimensional storyline, which in the awakening, different levels that people are at, you start realizing, the mind control that's going on, and why people are so trapped in their minds in this three-dimensional matrix world that was created. And those pods I was talking about into the ocean, well, there's supposedly an island that they did the same thing. and that they monitor it all the time. And that one is through the rock that's black. And so I don't know. I don't know if people are making this stuff up or anything, but to me, I think that these things are legit. I think that these things are real, that they have these experiments, because we're one of them. And so, anyways, the people, so anyway, so they want to keep you disconnected from yourself. And so there's all this distortion, distraction, stuff to feed into your dark side and stuff. And so it keeps people really out of balance and keeps them disconnected from themselves. And a lot of people even hate themselves because of their dark side. And you got to remember, the love, the light side, the God side, whatever you want to refer it to in your perspective, is all about love. It loves your dark side. It loves every part of you. It doesn't say, we only like the good stuff. No, it appreciates everything about you. You are significant, and what you bring to the table matters. So you are of love. It's nothing, and it's your work that you need to do of your dislike of yourself. That's why I'm always saying, you got learning to love yourself is a big thing. Going over the obstacles, guilt, shame, hardship, resentment, anger, all those things are things you have to work through, because it develops you into a more controlled emotional being, not under control, but that you have a more of a balanced effect, instead of just going way over here and reacting way over there and just bouncing all over the place. Instead, you're able to steer and keep within the lines. Yeah, that's funny too, because I was seeing it. It's like in our development as people, or as humans in this experience, that development of learning how to drive and stuff like that. So that's what the soul is learning how to do, is kind of learning how to drive itself. But that it has always been being really confused. But that confusion has led into their prison system of the planet. And so so when you come out of your body and the light shows up, and so many people go towards the light, and then you start having people showing up and stuff. And so they're saying that those people are keeping people trapped, and that a lot of people are here to wake up to release all of them, because it traps your whole lineage and stuff. And so it's like all these people are trapped. I don't know, because I don't feel trapped. It's like I see this as like a destination kind of thing. But I know that I've heard this a lot before in like QHHTs or channeling or something, where higher frequency beings don't come down here because of the trap. But they always talk about it as the karma trap, because you put things out of balance, you got to put them back in balance. And so, and you have all these obstacles, all these things you're going against to try and do that. And people forget who they are. So all these people who are dying, they don't understand when they're still alive, and they're confused. And then they bring them towards the light, and you have these beings show up that start telling you what you did wrong and what you need to do to improve it. And they said they also do some kind of like an electric surge, some kind of power surge. So when you're talking to them, it does something, and it wipes all your memories, and you forget your abilities, and that you can talk in your mind and all that stuff. So you forget all that, and then they convince you that you need to go back and work on yourself. And so people just go back and go back and go back. And so this person was saying, when you see the light, you don't go to the light. You start telling them you want to go wherever. You're going to go where you want to go. But see, so many people don't know the vastness of, there's other places to go. They lure you, I guess, with the light and get you over there. And then they convince you that you've made a mistake and that you need to go back and fix it. But the way I see it is that so many people, when they go to their life review, and this can be, part of their prison system, because this is all from like NDEs and stuff, all these near-death experience people who talk about this. So they pass out from from their body. A lot of people, when they leave their bodies, they stand and watch what's going on, because they're kind of in a state of confusion. Some have guides show up, some they're just kind of on their own, and they are very drawn by their emotions. So all of a sudden, you know, like they see themselves, like say a car wreck, and they're standing out there watching what's going on. And it happens in all different things, because some people start having these things when they're in the hospital, some when they're right there at the wreck, some it's just all different. If you go listen to NDEs, it's not like one set thing, like as soon as I come out of my body somebody's there. No, it's different things. Some people you know, die on the table thing, and then they go up above and they watch what's going on from the operating room and stuff. And so then they'll stay there, and then they may go out further, but sometimes people will see what's happening and they rush to their family members. They start like kind of panicking over their connection, kind of, and see that can hold people, that can bind people. And so that right there is a binding kind of thing. And so they'll rush to them and stuff. And then once they go and they leave at this plane, and then they start going and talking to their guides and stuff like that, then they do this life review. And when you do your life review, you see your life, only you see it through everyone else's eyes. So you see how you affected other people. You don't just see how you saw the world, you see how people saw you, because that gives you perspective of understanding yourself. Well, that can be really hard for a lot of people. And that, to me, that's what I always hear is the big draw that draws people back in, is their own feeling about themselves and wanting to fix the things that they don't like, and so, or that they wish they'd done different. And so some people, you know, the NDE people, they come back into their body and they change their lives and stuff. People who don't come back, sometimes I think that they go and become like ghosts or something. They hang on to the people they're around. I think that's a part of like why we have ancestors and stuff. Like the room can look like it's kind of empty, but no, you've got people around you all the time. You've got all sorts of people around you, and people that you didn't think you knew or something. You have all sorts of people around you, and so you aren't ever alone. And then so after you do your life review and stuff, then the people who come back, see, they come back. We don't know like where they go, because nobody is there to say. You hear a lot of NDEs where, you know, there's people that go and talk to Jesus, they go here, they go there, and all these different things. And that is all, to me, by perception. What you think is going to happen, then that's what happens. So there's people who think like they're going to go up and they're going to go through the gates and they're going to meet up with Jesus and go have a talk with him or whatever. Then they go through that experience, and maybe on that talk, you know, he sets them straight and says, you know, we don't use deities up here. We don't worship one another. We just kind of hang. And so anyways, the whatever it is, you know, to me, I didn't ever see it as a trap. It's somewhere in there. There's people who are getting sent back who didn't want to come back. And then that one thing that Allison Coe had done, it was a couple of sessions back, but she was talking to that one girl who she was in that trap. And she was doing these life after life, and then she had gotten contact with her family on another planet or something. And she was telling them, you know, I'm so sorry I've been gone so long and stuff. And they were laughing at her because they said you've only been gone like a day. And she had gone through life after life after life. And so it wasn't, to her, it felt like, oh my God, I've been gone so long. And to them, it was like, you haven't been gone long at all. And, but the time is not measured like how we measure time. And so that's, that's why I say, don't get caught up in that. You have a window of time, whatever. When you come in with your birth date, you come in with the death date. Everything in between is lessons and learning and stuff. So, anyways, the, so I don't know. You know, I mean, some people go through the experience of feeling the pressure of coming back and feeling forced to come back. And somehow it's, you know, there's got to be enough people have said it that it's got to have some kind of accuracy or some kind of resonance or something. It's got to be happening for some of these souls. And so, I don't know, but that guy was totally talking about it. And there's so many people talking about what's going on, and it's very close, and there's all sorts of conjecture over what it's going to be and what's going to happen. But there is things going with this money thing. Even though he wasn't on the tour yesterday, he was meeting Macron, which is so trippy because the whole lead up to that thing into whatever is yesterday thing, because everything is about exposing things. So much stuff being exposed all the time. And so he had that big meeting, was doing all sorts of press conferences. I mean, he's on the air like fucking all day long, I swear to God. I mean, these people need to be tuning in to what he's actually doing and not listening to the sound bites on MSNBC, CNN, or whatever the fuck. Or what's worse, Huffington Post and these other fucking liberal kind of rags that people believe everything that they say because it's tainted information. And so, anyways, I don't know when the tour is going to be, hopefully today, but whatever they're doing, it's to just show more stuff. But yesterday, Tucker said that he tweeted, or X'd, whatever it's called, I don't know, tweeted that he, how did he say? He said something about the gold. They're out there getting the gold's on its way, and there's a whole bunch of it, and we're going on a new money system, something like that. And I sent it to my mom and I said, do you believe Tucker? Because every time I say it, she's like, oh yeah, because I've been saying this stuff so long, but I've been watching it play out, and it's like I can see what's going on. And but people I've told, they're all like, oh my God, you know, like it was supposed to happen yesterday or something. And she even told me, because the two brother-in-laws that work at the banks, they're like, they say nothing's going on. I'm like, well, I don't see it coming. A lot of people don't see it coming, but you know, that's why. Anyways, I sent that, and I said, so do you believe him? I think I'm crazy, but do you believe him? And she's like, yeah, I do believe him. I said, I'm telling you, it's coming. This is coming. And I don't know if it's a part of the wake up thing. I would think it's a part of the thing that's going to be, because somebody in my comments, they said something about, yeah, well, I know we're going on it and that's going to happen, but I think it's going to take like 10 years or something because there's so many people who aren't awake. But yeah, but this is, I think, a part of what is going to wake them up. Like all this information that keeps coming out of all this misspending, all this corruption, and that is all a part of the lead-in. It's like they're serving us dinner in the, you know, the fancy way, bringing you the however they started. I think they started with soup or something, salad, then the entree, then your dessert, then your after dinner coffee or whatever. So we're going through this total thing where it's like it's all being set up for us. So it's all being shown to us. And so many people aren't paying attention, but that's going to be their hardship. That's going to be their lessons, is to, you know, where was I? How was I lost from this? So everything is being set to me. And, oh yeah, there's more stuff about Vladimir and Donald, and just a whole lot of stuff. I guess Rwanda, Africa, has asked Trump if they can get his support as they're trying to make some big changes there, because it's still been going. Like if you ever saw Hotel Rwanda, which is traumatizing, and it's really traumatizing to know this is still fucking going, 30 years later, is that that they need help with this corruption and stuff. And so, oh yeah, and it's coming out that Justin, was the one who asked if they could become the 51st state. So that's coming out apparently. So, but everything is going to just keep unfolding to show corruption, to take down the bad guys in the most delicate way for the population. So the population doesn't freak out, because media has been so mind contorting people that people are so confused they don't know what the fuck's going on. So they've got to do it in this like slow kind of, layering event. But to me, everything is going into this direction. The Fort Knox, the showing all the money thing, all of it's going to come together. And the good thing is, I also reminded my mom yesterday, is that what goes along with the money is the med beds. Supposedly, when we get this money thing rolling in, that's when they start setting up med beds appointments. So I'm like, if it's just a few weeks away, which I think it's got to be close. It's got to be much closer than what we think. And so, but I don't know how gentle is going to roll in. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of bumps, because the more bumps, the more people wake up. And that's what everything's about. It's like, those of us who understand, it's, that we got to just keep on holding on and waiting and knowing, having faith, this is going to play out. This is going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. We're heading to something good, even through the bumps. And to see the purpose behind the bumps is the changes in our civilization, the changes in our population and our priorities. So these bumps have to occur because they create change. So anyway, I don't know how rocky it's going to be once these different things happen. But remember, it's all about, bringing the lights on and showing everybody. But there will be, there will be such a relief of debt, and just such a monetary relief for people in so many different ways. My stomach's growling crazy. So, I feel like I'm just always hungry. I've already eaten a cookie too. Goddamn 2:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh yeah, because when I got up, I did not want to get up, man. Instead, they do this all the time, man. They'll get up and they play around and keep you up to where you're wide awake, and then they just conk back out. And it's like, oh my God, I can't get back to sleep until they're waking up the next time. And it just becomes frustrating. Even when she woke me up and I was trying to go back to sleep, right as I was dozing back off, she started crying again. I was like, son of a bitch. So, but when I came out and I picked up my phone and looked, what time do you think it was? 2:22. Like, what the hell? And it keeps happening too, is yesterday and today at the 2:22, I'm looking at the 2:22 and then it switches into 2:23. And that has been a pattern that has been going through my thing. So it's some kind of a communication where I feel like it's a communication of everything's lining up, everything's going right in the direction that you want. It's everything's great. And so it's like a communication of everything is in sync. That's how it feels like to me. So anyways, I think it's got to be close. And after, just reminding my mom of some of that stuff, it totally brought her out of her funk, where she started, it's like bringing back in, kind of back into your logic and stuff, being like, okay, yeah, and sending positive. And I was like, we got to go in and send positive thought. And I didn't do it last night when I went to bed. But you can communicate with people in dreams. Even if people think it's wacky, you can communicate with people through telepathy, and they may not hear it, they may not see it as you're sitting there talking to them and so on, what their level of perception is, but they will hear it, just like, I hear the universal consciousness. When you're speaking directly to somebody, you're communicating with them. Like, I know this, the person I'm connected to, and our souls are connected, is I know that we talk to each other. Even though we don't talk to each other, I know we talk to each other. And, that will be the kind of interesting thing, is when we do start talking to each other, to see, like, what parts did you hear when I was talking to you? Like, what communication was there? Like, what was our communication like on your end? And so I'm very curious about that, because even at times where I don't know what you would call it, because it's like you can focus on this person and you can be by them and you can be talking to them, And there was times where I would focus on them and I would see myself in a room that I was pretty sure was their room, but I wasn't sure. But now um, I have seen confirmation. I was like, oh, that was the room I was in, huh? Interesting. So, anyways, the but you can talk and you can communicate. And when people have blockages, don't forget they have three-dimensional blockages. You got to just start communicating with their soul. And so to communicate with their soul, it goes a lot better with telepathy. And instead of writing a letter or an email or a text or whatever, because then they've got a lot of views, a lot of lenses to break through. And then they can't see or hear what they're not meant to see or hear. When you communicate directly with their soul is kind of in charge anyways. And so, and you may get a message back like, hey, this is, they're out, they're going. But to me, it feels like, he's going to, like, med beds are close. Like, there's a lot of people who are sick right now. I think there's going to be this great thing that's going to happen and it's going to bring people back. And you got to remember, though, that there's a lot of lessons and stuff that go through in families and stuff when somebody gets really sick. So it's all has a big purpose in people's awakening and changing their priorities. Because people are zipping around doing this, but all of a sudden somebody's sick and just get your attention. And you get more focused on that and you start looking at things much different. Just like I said, certain things and you're like, well, that's not that important anymore. That's not that important, because it changes your view of things. And so those things happen for that purpose. Some people leave and some people stay, but we're going to have a lot of people who seem like they were about to leave and they're going to stay. So that's going to be really cool. And so we'll just see how it goes. And I still, I'm hoping that it's going to be in a couple weeks, but I've been hoping this for fucking years now. So that, you just got to keep on knowing it's coming. So wherever, however, and whenever. But there's supposed to be some significant things like this thing out in space that's flying towards us. It's going to hit us. It's supposed to be in like 2026 or 2027. Like, there's all these certain things where it's like, shit's got to start happening quicker in our favor. Like, so I feel like, and things are moving fast. So it seems like, we probably are really close to the financial changeover. And that's going to roll out so much with the technology. There's already got a flying car, which I keep on thinking there's got to be some way that we don't just start crashing into birds all the time now. As I saw a movie the other day where these birds were crashing into planes. And it's like, man, if we're all flying up in space or flying around in the sky, there's got to be some kind of thing. Maybe I don't know. I would just think there's got to be something so that we're not crashing into birds and killing them all the time, because that's not working well with the planet. So I would think there's got to be something in the technology. So maybe the first ones won't be as cool as the later ones. I don't know, but they could. But this technology's been released to some people, and oh yeah, and that could be why some of that RV money or whatever is going into some of these corporations or whatever who have these contracts or something. But then don't forget, when crimes are exposed, all that money goes back to the people. So it doesn't matter whatever. And there's going to be lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. Like, these people are going to go bankrupt. There's no getting around this stuff. They're going to pay for their crimes. All of them. There's no hiding it. This would be like trying to hide from God kind of situation. This is, the universe is turning the lights on for a reason. There will be no hiding. There will be no getting away with your crimes. And so that's, going to be a big takedown, shakedown that we're going to experience. And it's going to be intense. Because it's not going to just be, these politicians. There's going to be doctors, lawyers, a lot of common folk are going to be seeing, the things they did weren't simple little things. They were a part of a very corrupt system, and they were ignoring their morals in order to. This is the part where they got to look at for themselves: is why was I doing it? For the money, for the fame, for the recognition, for whatever it is. They got to notice that in themselves. And so that's the healing part. It's not the part for us to go in and judge and, yeah, see, you're a bad one. God doesn't like you. You're bad. No, it's, that's, then you got issues because you're out there judging other people. You don't have no room to judge anybody. Nobody has any room to judge anybody. We all have bad things. We all have good things. And so some people's lessons have to do with doing bad things at this time and facing, that side of themselves, this dark side of themselves. So there's going to be a lot of these people, are going to have to see, like what was their drive, what was their motivation, and, why didn't they walk away? Because there's been lots of people who have walked away. And that is also something I'm hearing, because I keep telling people this, and I've started hearing it playing out. I've started hearing people say, yeah, well, I think like on these Fed jobs or something, you know, um, there's people who have left those jobs because their morals or their ethics didn't allow it. But there's other people, well, I need a paycheck. And so those are the things that people have got to reevaluate in themselves. What is driving them? And like I said, it's not for us to sit back in judgment over what drives them. It's for them to come into the rational expression of self and understand themselves and see themselves in the light, so they can understand that side of themselves, so they can do with it what they will. And there's going to be a lot of cleaning up, a lot of dark energy at this time. And a lot of people are, got to face these dark sides of themselves. And I saw this video of this girl yesterday, and she was a young girl. There's so many young kids that are being homeless right now because of the problems with jobs and student loans and not being able to get a good job, having distance in family relationships and not having support and stuff. So there's tons and tons living in their car, just living on the edge. And this girl, she was young. I think she was like 25. And she was, oh yeah, because I did see that other one too. Yeah. Because this girl, she's real cute and everything. And she could be doing what this other girl is doing, because I saw this other girl and she was more fixed. Like she had makeup, bleached hair and stuff. And as somebody was interviewing her of like, what do you do as a homeless person? What's your scam or whatever? And she said, well, I don't really have a scam or scheme or whatever it's called. But she said that but she does develop relationships so that she can kind of couch surf. So, she'll go home with guys so that she can kind of hang out with them and kind of sleep at their place and stuff like that. So, and this girl, like, she could do that. She's a cute girl. She could just go start using guys for a place to stay. So there's girls out there surviving doing that. She's like, I'm not a prostitute. They're not paying me. But she's doing it because she's getting something back. Because this world gets you to shift into, you see what you would do. See how you would, see these sides of yourself so you can understand yourself. So anyways, she's doing that, which is a survival tactic. There's a lot of people out there just trying to survive. And now, like I said, this place is very keen on creating criminals. And not only do they want to create all of us to be criminals, but then the ones that are the worst, they want to take them to go against us. So this place is just built on chaos and control, which in New York, now, the absurdity just keeps getting more crazy to expose these psycho mayors and governors and senators and shit. But in New York, now they want to charge you $1 for walking on their sidewalks. You know how much money they'd make? How many people are on those fucking sidewalks because people don't have cars? It's so crowded there too. The streets are full because people take taxis and shit. And there's some people with cars, but most of the people just walk and take subways and shit. There's people that leave there who've never driven a car. I've met some, and being in other places, it's like, how do you make it without driving a car? But everything that they need is in a small place. But see, it's like the 15-minute kind of beta testing city situation. They've got them around, and so hey, we just keep them all in this little condensed area. They just go around. Only we're going to charge them if they try and leave. So anyways, they've started that in New York. They're in charge of $1 for using their sidewalk, and they've got cameras every certain amount of feet. And so the way they're going to do it is they're going to use the cameras apparently to monitor how many blocks you take and how much you owe them. It's so wacky. But these are the things that get people to react and be like, what the fuck? It's got to get this extreme. It's got to get this absurd, because that's what creates the change. That's what gets the people to react and be like, this is no, I'm not doing that. And so, and don't forget, there's always this part also of that. It's like the universe pushing people out of certain areas. Because I think something bad's going to happen in New York for sure. Just like California, I think New York is going to be hit really hard with something. And it seems like, because there's been so many people who have had those premonition dreams, that it's something like a tsunami or something that comes in and it causes a huge water thing. But it could be, a fucking mothership splashing, I don't know, something about water and the water rising there in a very fast way and a lot of people dying, just like it's going to happen on all the all the shorelines. It's going to keep happening and happening. But that's why I feel like the universe is kind of giving us urges to move out of some of these places by the ridiculousness. So it's all on different levels, of how you look at things. And so anyways, back on that girl, the homeless girl, and she was very upset, and she was crying, and she was like, she just feels hopeless. She doesn't know what she's going to do. She feels just so trapped. She just feels like so bad about herself. Just a bunch of stuff. And I went into her comments, and I was, because she doesn't like God right now. And there's a lot of people who are just like, I hate God now because they're in such a bad place. And it's like, see, this is what the creation of this place. So on hers, I think it was hers, or it might have been the girl who was saying that she hated God because of all the bad things that are happening to her. But the one girl, the homeless girl, I think it was the one I said, don't forget everything is temporary, and take it on, like connect with this like warrior, gypsy, nomadic side of yourself, because you have it in you. And you have a lot of different parts of you. Connect with that side of you, this warrior, and don't get beat down by it. And don't forget, everything is temporary. Nothing is forever. Like, just think back of how many things you wished would have lasted forever. Everything is temporary. If you could have kept it forever, you would have done the best you could, but it doesn't work that way. We don't have that kind of control. And so, don't forget it's temporary, and so use it to your benefit. Everyone you meet at this time is there for a purpose, and a big part of the purpose right now is the preparation for this new life that's coming in. And so it's it's preparing people. It's to get them into this warrior spirit, to get them back into remembering who and what they are, and to not let this place beat them down. And then the girl, though, I think that was like so sad, and she hates God, and she's so beat down. I don't remember what all her stuff was, but I on hers, I think I sent her a link to my channel. It was just like, oh, just please come over here, because people are just so it's like misdiagnosis, but what is that? It's like the miscommunication has created a malfunction in how people think and stuff. And I just feel like, they're just, out there hating God and stuff. That's not going to do you any fucking good, and it's going to make you more, it's like a more negative victim mentality, which is going to keep you more trapped in I got two words merged. Hold on a second. That it's like it keeps you trapped in this going around and around and around in this same kind of thing. Like, there's no solution. God doesn't even like you. He sucks, and he's a monster, and all that. No, it's very different than that. It's and when you start seeing it on a spiritual level and stuff, and you start realizing, no, there's no God up there that's doing this to you. There's no God that's trying to punish you. You're here for experiences, to learn and grow through experiences, and you're here to witness yourself. And that's not to say like, oh, I witnessed myself getting beat down. Oh, I've witnessed myself being beat down plenty of times. where I'm just at my fucking wit's end. I'm at, you know, the last of my threads, and then they just get together. It's like, son of a bitch. But that also helps when you have your communication with your, you know, through your soul. You know, you're communicating with the other side, with your spirit guides, with the universal consciousness, with other beings, whatever it is, which I have seen in one of these videos of these people talking, also saying that there's so many beings out here that you're communicating with. There's so much communication. And so that's why I'm saying, when people got to clear out their thoughts and start realizing it's not, you aren't creating all this. You have communication going. And so things aren't just popping into your head because your brain doesn't have anything to do. No, you are hearing things. And so that is like where people are like, oh, I got to download and stuff. Like, just tune more into that, because there's constant communication. They're not just sitting there waiting like, oh, is it time to download? Okay, let's tell them all. No, it's all day long. It's all night long. It's nonstop. And there's communication. You can tap in anytime you want. And you can tap in through other sides of yourself too, because there's these other sides of yourself that, you know, like I said, the warrior side of yourself, that you can tap into that part of you. And it's like tapping into the universal consciousness, but it's this spirit part of you that can help move you through some of this stuff, but you got to connect into it. And so people keep themselves so limited and trapped in their misery. And then they blame, you know, like the big guy, it's all his fault. And it's, but you made these choices, even though there's people who feel like they're imprisoned here. But still, there was a choice that they came back. And when they came back and they didn't remember that they were a soul that could leave, then they had lessons. So it was, everything is about learning and lessons, and learning that you can leave this place, learning that there's more out there, learning, and there's nothing wrong with being here and going through all these lessons, because it makes you stronger and smarter. It makes you more vivid and vibrant. So, and that is part of the big remembering, and that is part where so many people got so driven into their egos. All of a sudden, like they're princesses and kings and queens and royalty from the other atmospheres and stuff like that. And so people start remembering that, you know, that they are something so much more than the limitations that have been created for you here. And so then they get all up their own ass, though. It's like, we're all this, like, we've all been all these things. You've played out all, and you can play out any more. Like, if you think like you haven't been a king yet, you can go play that out somewhere. It's not like only specific ones get to be kings and queens. No, you gotta go and play out anything you want to play out. But it isn't like, it's not just like an easy road. Like, we all sit there and think, oh, that'd be an easy one. I'll go do that. That'd be fun. But then you get in and it's like, oh, there's challenges. There's challenges no matter which direction you come in. There's always hardships. There's always another side. There's always things you have to go through. There's always lessons, because that's what this place is all about. It isn't just about like, oh, you got the winning life, that you have no issues, and well, what are you learning in that one? You come in and you think like, oh, I'm going to be, you know, aristocrat. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to have it all. I'm not going to have any problems. Like, you leave this life of poverty and you're just like, well, I want to come back and be rich. And then you come back and be rich, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, you can't trust people. People are after your money. People will kill you for your money. It's just a whole thing. And it brings out these other sides of you, like in this movie I just watched. Oh my God, it was pretty good. I really did like it. It was a Lifetime movie, and it was called not Original Sin. It was called The Preacher's Sin. I think Sins of the Preacher, or Preacher's Sins, or something. And I thought, you know, it would just be like a regular old, but it was very complex, and I really liked the characters and how dysfunctional they were. So I was like, man, this is what people do. This is exactly what people do. And it's so accurate. And you can just see like, oh, you do different things and different things gonna happen. But one aspect of it was the money and what it can do to you. Is this one girl who's had this, which even on this one dynamic, the rich old man dad, so the rich old fucking tycoon dad and the trophy wife who's like 40 years younger, who's just sitting drunk by the pool all day long. And then they have kids. And then the kid ends up being a teenager, and she ends up being a drunk old fucking sitting out with her mom at the pool, and she's so up her own ass. She's a bully. She's hateful, and she ends up doing something real bad. And so, you know, it's like there's gotta be consequences and stuff. You can't just let people be out of control. Just because you have money doesn't make you a better person, that you have the right to do what you want. And there's a lot of kids out there who have come in to learn those lessons and teach these kinds of things to their parents too, because we've seen that through our society. These kids, these rich kids getting away with crimes and shit. So anyways, I did like that movie, and it did have a lot of stuff in it, a lot of things that can make you think. And let me think. Let me think what I was gonna say. So, the sins of another, and I really liked the part where the guy chose integrity too, because there was a moral battle in there. There's a lot of stuff in this movie I thought was really good, but he chose integrity and to be real and to be authentic and speak his truth, which is always the best thing. No matter if you think like, oh, this bad shit's gonna happen, if anybody knows, it's gonna be the worst thing, and that keeps people trapped in being not themselves, to hide things and stuff. It's better just to let it out, just be real, let it go. And and don't forget, the people who are judging you, they've got issues. If people are sitting back in judgment on people, they've got issues. And this light coming on is going to show them these issues. It's not for you to feel bad like you're not a good enough person. That's something you got to learn for yourself. I am good enough. I am good enough. What was that guy on that show? It used to be a show. I think he was on Saturday Night Live for a while or something. But he developed this character that everybody got into. And I think he did a movie with this character and stuff because everybody liked this character. And it was somebody who used these affirmations, and he would hang them around and have them in the mirror, and he was constantly telling himself affirmations. And that was something he would always say to himself: you are good enough. I am good enough. And that's what we all need to tell ourselves, because we all have these parts of ourselves of feeling beat down. Oh, this one. Oh my God, I saw this girl yesterday. Oh, this is heartbreaking. But we've all got this shit, man. But so, and she was really pretty. It's so crazy. So she said, and maybe she was reading a Reddit, I don't know. But it seemed legit, like she seemed emotional about this. So she said, when I was 9 years old, I think it was when she was 9, her mom decided that her nickname was Penny Pignose or something like that. It was something rude, because she said she had a nose like a pig. And then she had a sister who was, I guess, prettier than her or something. Because then, so she's going through all these traumatic things that happened to her now. Some of the cruel things that people say, and as you're growing up, and how it affects you. And her mom was pretty hardcore, because even when, years later, when she's getting all ready to go to the prom, and she's in there and she's got herself a dress and she's putting on her makeup and fixing her hair and everything, and her mom comes in and does this like, well, I mean, you do the best you can when all you got to work with is a turd or something like that. I was like, what in the world is wrong with this woman? Is she drunk or something? Like, who says this stuff to their kids? And if you got a parent who talks to you like that, don't take it as you. It is them. They can't see your goodness through their hate of themselves. They hate themselves so much that they can't imagine something good coming from them. And then when there is like this other sister who's more attractive, because the aunt was taking pictures of this photo shoot of the little girl, like when she was 12 or something. And doing this whole, I don't know, it was a fairy or princess photo shoot, something. And so the other girl was like, oh, it was Marilyn Monroe. It was a Marilyn Monroe one, which was kind of weird because it's kind of young. But so she's like, I want to do a photo shoot. I want to do one. And the aunt said, some people the camera just doesn't like. And so and all these different things that would happen. She would just go and sit and cry in her room. She went swimming this one time as a young teenager, because your body's changing all the time. And she was walking to the pool to go do a cannonball or something, and all these boys started making fun of her. And she had some boys calling her thunder thighs. I think her mom said something about her weight, and this girl is not heavy, so I don't know if she grew up chunky or if she's, like I said, telling somebody else's story or something. But these things do happen, these traumatic things, and we take them on as our own. That's what gets us to be so, something's wrong with us, something's wrong with us. We got to put this out. We got to act this way so people will like us and accept us. But it's more important for you to be able to see, like, geez, what an asshole. Like, well, who says that? Who acts like that to somebody? And not take it on as something's wrong with you. To keep in your understanding that it's them. They've got something wrong. They're the asshole. They're the hateful person. And all that hate is inside of them. And for some reason, they want to pass it on to you. But you don't have to take it. You can, put up your guard and, let it go back on them. Don't absorb it and take it on as you. But see, it happens to us as we're kids through the beginning. And so those are like the traumatic things we're here to get over. We're here to go from that understanding of seeing that and then pulling free from it. And I think that's the journey to learning how to love yourself, is that, to have that understanding, to realize, like, these are these people's perspective. It doesn't have to be my perspective. And I completely get the whole thing of, like, I mean, I've got so many of these traumatic things and stuff. Just like I was saying the other day, of like how many people I would meet, and they would be like, they would meet me and they had seen a picture of me, and they would always be like, oh, I was expecting you to be so much bigger. Like, everybody thought I was, because of my cheeks, I guess. Everybody thought I was like some real chunky person, a real chub. And then they would meet me and they would always be like, man, even there was somebody who told me, well, you should go be a plus size model because of these chunky cheeks, I guess. And so I don't know, I talked to somebody about it, and they said, you have to gain weight. And then when I was going to go to the modeling agency that was in Dallas, that was the one that those sisters came from. Now I can't remember their name. They were in an Urban Cowboy and stuff. Jerry Hall. Oh yeah, because Jerry Hall married Mick Jagger. Jerry Hall and her sister. So they were from Dallas. So I was going to go to that modeling agency, and but the universe took me in a different direction, because at the time of my appointment was to meet with them was the next week, and I took off and went to London, and so I missed that appointment. I never went back, but it wasn't meant. That wasn't meant to happen. And then, I mean, if I was meant to have been discovered or something at that time, it wasn't that much longer, and I was on the French Riviera, topless out there in there, and that was a big place where all of those models and the agents and all that stuff worked, which also in that movie it showed the corruption of these fucking agents and these people who take over the talented people. It shows about that corruption too, and getting them into contracts and controlling them through their contracts and stuff. So and just taking all the money and so much control. So much control. But see, we're moving out of this place of control. We're moving into a place of independence where we're not having these people over us controlling us. But see, it takes these breaking free of, like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let this I'm going to let this side of me be seen, and I'm going to own it, and I'm going to play through. Okay, I'll finish. So my time is up apparently. So let's check on my tooth. Last night I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's all gray again in there. So it just keeps going through these phases. I think it's just the tooth growing back. So anyways, that's where we're at today. So don't forget all this stuff I've been saying, which I was not. So weird sometimes when I'll start talking and the information that starts coming, it's like, oh, I didn't know that was coming. So anyways, you know, and a lot of times it's because it's not scripted. I'm not writing it out. I'm not figuring it out before and stuff. So then a lot of times I'll be like, oh man, did I say everything? Did I finish? Did I wrap it up? It's like I feel like I'm bouncing around all these things. So anyways, tomorrow there may be more stuff that I've got to, oh, I forgot to say this. I forgot to say that. But anyways, there's a lot going on. And Cash is, boy, he's just moving through like all these people are just going through like a freight train, man. They are fucking taking shit down. Stuff is being exposed and going down, and there's a lot of fucked up agency, a lot of fucked up shit that's been going on. So, and I'm one of those people. I'm also a Libra moon. No, I'm a Libra sun. Yeah, no, I'm a Cancer sun, Libra moon. That's what it is, I think. And Sagittarius or Scorpio rising, depends on which calendar you go with. But anyway, I mean, all these signs, I mean, who knows what the fuck we are. But anyways, justice has always been important to me. And that's why I've always been drawn to like these mystery, like the murder mystery act. Because I want to see fucking justice. I want to see people pay for their crimes. I want consequences. And I'm not surprised that I'm here for this. So, because this is going to be a lot of people facing a lot of consequences. But it's going to get to the point because there's always a dark side. There's always another side. And it's going to become very tedious and hard to watch. It's gonna get intense. I think it's gonna get intense. So first they'll take down the easy ones, and then we'll have to start facing, stuff it's gonna get harder and harder, I think. And then we'll be free. So there's a real freedom that comes from it, but there's a lot of stuff to go through and face and see and experience. And it's going to be all things that are going to be changing us in a deep, profound way. So anyways, just buckle up. Because things are just getting started, I think. And it's like we're propelling now to a new thing. And so anyways, there's a lot going on. And I could say more, bouncing around on all these different things. But Mrs. Fussy Pants over here has got other plans. She's probably hungry at this point because it's probably like 5:30. If I started at 4:30, so it's probably, yeah, it's past her time. She's starving at this point. So anyways, I guess I'll go feed them and get started on my day of opening and closing the garage door to go out to the bathroom, come in, go to eat. It's just a day that spins around my dogs. But I do get a lot of exercise going up and down these stairs, that's for sure. And I'm the stomach thing. I'm having this weird stomach. I can't tell if it's the poisons or if there's some other thing. And so I'm gonna not feed into the one, because you're feeding an illusion. That's the thing. Whatever you're feeding an illusion, because none of this is real. And whatever illusion you're feeding, he's got the information you need to understand about yourself. So, and I know that healing ourselves is real. Just as real as telepathy, just as real as talking to people in this other plane of existence. And the connections that we have, it's through vibration. Like, we're connected to other souls through our vibration. And so this is kind of weeding things out and stuff. It's drawing people who vibrate together back in together. So anyways, just remember, through all this stuff, like I keep saying, what you're here to do, what you're here to learn. When you're looking at any of the things going on, there's always the same kind of stuff coming out of it. You're learning how to love yourself. You're learning how to love others. And you're learning how to have a good day and heal yourself, because it's up to you. So anyways, I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.